More pain for homeowners this week, with the Reserve Bank increasing interest rates for the 10th straight month. The official cash rate is now 3.6%, up another 25 basis points, with mortgage holders now officially paying 50% more in repayments than they were this time last year. That's an incredible stat. But an end to the financial pain might be in sight. That's what a lot of the reports are saying. But is that true? Joining me now is Yellow Brick Road Executive Chairman Mark Bouris. Mark, thank you so much for your time. Do you believe that there's potentially a pause in sight?
I'd love to be able to say so. I don't think so. So I think there is going to be a pause. So we're at the closer there to being a pause as we were compared to, say, a couple of months ago. But I don't accept what all the reports have been saying about expecting a pause for the April meeting. So I expect in the April meeting we'll have another 25 basis points. I think you might get another pause after that in the May meeting. But this is all subject to something that he put out there the other day. He said the three things, this is the Reserve Bank governor, the three things he's interested in is, one, global inflation. So how's inflation being controlled, particularly in the US? How's it being controlled? One. And they're not having a very good time of it in the US at the moment. Two, household consumption. In other words, how much, or household spending, how much are people in their home spending? JB Hi-Fi, what are they buying, you know, whatever they buy at JB Hi-Fi, they're buying lounge chairs to Harvey Norman, etc. What are Australians spending? And those numbers are going to come out at the next couple of days. And then finally, the really important one from the Reserve Bank governor's point of view is, what are wages going to do? Are they going to start to creep up? In other words, are we going to get a lot of wage claims which are going to be accepted at a high rate? In other words, somewhere beyond 4%. So above 3 and 4% wage increases, and I'm talking about annualised, of course. So that's what the Reserve Bank's governor is going to do. He's going to have a look at this stuff over the next couple of months, and he's prepared to pause, which is what he said. I'm prepared to pause, but only if that data allows me to.
Yeah, he's very careful with what he says these days, and we can all understand why. Now, regardless, households are still forking out hundreds of dollars more in extra payments a month and for their mortgages. You see this firsthand. You talk to real people. How tough are they doing it?
It's quite incredible. In fact, now the Reserve Bank board, the whole board, is going to be meeting with people like Lifeline because we're getting mental health problems now. So people are so stressed out, and probably worse than that, they're confused. They're uncertain. They were told only a year and a half ago that there was not going to be any interest rate rises until next year. So they're confused, they're concerned, they're worried, and some of them are massively stressed. So Erin, we are now entering into a period where we have mental health problems, where people are worried about how we're going to survive in this place. Do we have to sell our home? If we have to sell our home, do we have to line up with the 50 other people to go and rent a place? And when we go to rent a place, how much money are we going to have to pay for that rent? You know, because we keep talking about rents going up at an unbelievable clip at the moment, because we don't have enough housing. So this is a bit of a stuff up, and to be frank with you, Aaron, right now we're in a very, very difficult phase of our economic growth relative to where we've been a couple of years ago.
So what can people do? What are practical measures that people can take to ease the burden a little bit day to day?
Well, I think the first thing is you've got to make sure he's not paying too much. So if you're coming off a fixed rate going into a variable rate, which is like something like 800,000 Australians this year are going to come off the fixed rate and go into a variable rate. Generally speaking, when you clip into a variable rate, you get what they call the standard variable rate. But there are also discounted variable rates. So you want to be sure that you can get the discounted variable rate. So that means if you're a borrower, start shopping around. Go and talk to a mortgage broker. Ask a mortgage broker, look, I'm coming off fixed rate, I'm going to variable rate, I'm with so-and-so bank. Is there a better deal out there for me? Can you, Mr. Mortgage Broker, get me a better deal out there? And if worse comes to worse, if you run out of time or you don't have access to a broker, whatever the case may be, you ring your bank up and say, look, I'm not happy with that standard variable rate, I'm looking for a discount, otherwise I will leave. Because the last thing banks want you to do is leave. It's much more expensive for a bank to get a new customer than it is to keep an old customer, so they'd rather pay a little bit of money away to retain them. And some of the banks are actually saying to some of the customers right now, we'll give you cash back so you don't leave. So there are cashback offers by some of the banks. Again, brokers know who are these banks. So go and talk to your local broker and ask them what they think. And bear in mind, and don't feel bad about that. Brokers don't charge a fee. That's the first thing. Second thing is 72% of all Australians talk to a broker before they do anything with their mortgage. They either use a broker to get their mortgage, or they talk to a broker about what they should do in terms of refinancing, etc., or indeed staying with their bank. So, and the other thing is, I've heard a lot of people. I just came back from Mildura today. I was in Orange last week. I was in Albury or Dong the week before. And what I'm finding is a lot of borrowers who have homes and have, say, 3 bedrooms, maybe 2 kids, and the parents another bedroom. What they're doing is they're letting out 1 room. So people are starting to look at ways of making a little bit more income, let out a room. Because, we've got a rental crisis at the moment. So, and there's a lot of students now coming back to Australia because the government's opened up the borders, and lots of people need somewhere to stay, and a room suits a lot of these individuals, and you can do quite well. You can get $200-300 a week for a room. That actually eats into the mortgage, the extra mortgage payments a lot. Watch your cost of living, watch your spending, be a little bit more discerning when it comes to your discretionary spending.
Yeah, really good advice. Just quickly before I let you go, most organisations, well, they don't want to hear from their customers, particularly if they're struggling. You've actually put a call out. You want people to contact you, tell you how hard they're doing it, and 5 of them could get 12 grand. What are you doing?
Well, the reason I'm doing that is because I know it's going to cost me $60,000, but the reason I'm doing that, Erin, is because I want to form a platform which is effectively the voice of mortgage holders in Australia who have something to say to the Reserve Bank Governor. And I'm going to compile that whole thing, and I'm going to hand over to the Reserve Bank Governor. I'm going to say, and he might want to not take it in person from me, but I'm certainly going to make sure it gets to his office and say to him, look, dude, your data says one thing, but what I want to show you here, or what Australians want to show you here, is how they feel. And I'm just going to compile this whole thing. This is a voice of Australian borrowers who are doing it tough, who want to tell the Reserve Bank what they think and what they feel. And I don't mean having a crack at him, but just sort of saying, hey, this is how I feel about all this, and can we just put a bit of empathy there?
Yeah, I really love that, and it's a really serious issue. It's really heartbreaking on many levels, but I would just love to see his face when you call him dude. I think that will be a moment worthy of recording. Mark Bouris, yelling
he's just a bloke like the rest of us.
Apparently so. Thank you so much for your time and your advice. Really appreciate it.